Home Assistant is the free open-source smart home platform that runs on a Raspberry Pi or any small computer. Paid platforms include SmartThings, Apple Home, Google Home, and Hubitat. Each has trade-offs. According to a 2025 Home Assistant community survey, the platform has over 400,000 active monthly users worldwide, and the user base grew 38% year over year. Let me start with what Home Assistant actually is. It's an open-source platform written in Python that runs on a server you own. It supports thousands of integrations through community-maintained plugins. The data stays local. It works during internet outages. It can integrate with anything that has an API. It's the most flexible smart home platform in existence in 2026. Here's the catch. Home Assistant requires effort. The initial setup is a few hours minimum if you're new to Linux or networking. The integrations sometimes require YAML configuration even in 2026. The interface is functional but not as polished as Apple Home. The learning curve is real and not everyone wants to climb it. Hardware requirements. Home Assistant runs on a Raspberry Pi 4 for $80, on a Home Assistant Yellow at $150 with pre-built Zigbee, on the Home Assistant Green at $100 without Zigbee, or on any spare PC or in US. The minimum Raspberry Pi spec is 4 GB of RAM. Spend the money on the 8 GB version. The headroom matters as you add devices. Now SmartThings. Samsung's smart home platform requires the SmartThings Station Hub at around $200 or any newer Samsung TV that includes the SmartThings Hub built in. Cloud-based with limited local processing. Free to use after hardware purchase. Supports Zigbee, Z-Wave, Matter, and Thread. Connects to most major brands. Polished mobile app. Apple Home is free with any Apple device. The Hub is your Apple TV, HomePod, or HomePod Mini, anything from the past few years. Most polished interface in the smart home space. Strong privacy story with on-device processing. Limited to HomeKit certified and Matter-compatible devices. Tightly integrated with iOS, iPadOS, watchOS, and macOS. iPhone-only restriction is real. Hubitat sits between Home Assistant and SmartThings. Local first like Home Assistant, but with a more polished out-of-box experience like SmartThings. The Hubitat Elevation Hub is $150. Supports Zigbee and Z-Wave natively. The community is smaller than Home Assistant, but the platform is genuinely user-friendly. Power user favorite that doesn't require Linux fluency. Time investment comparison. SmartThings setup, 2 hours for the average user with 20 devices. Apple Home setup, 1 to 2 hours similar. Hubitat setup, 3 to 4 hours. Home Assistant setup, 6 to 12 hours for the same 20 devices. The time gap is real and meaningful, especially if your time is genuinely worth $30+ per hour. Capability comparison. Home Assistant wins on flexibility. Want to integrate your washing machine that has no smart home support but a published API? Home Assistant has a community plugin. Want to write a Python script that triggers when your dog's smart feeder runs low and the weather is rainy? Home Assistant. Want any unconventional automation? Home Assistant. But the ROI looks different when you count the obvious capabilities. SmartThings handles the basics well. Apple Home handles the basics elegantly. Hubitat handles the basics powerfully. For 100% of users, the basics is what they actually need. Home Assistant becomes meaningfully better only when you push past basics into edge cases. Privacy comparison. Home Assistant wins decisively. All data stays on your local server unless you specifically enable cloud features. No telemetry, no usage analytics, no cloud-required features. Apple Home is second best with strong on-device processing, but iCloud Sync is required for some features. SmartThings and Google Home are cloud-based. Pick based on how much privacy matters to you. Reliability during internet outages. Home Assistant continues working when your internet is down. Local automations fire normally. Apple Home with a HomePod or Apple TV as the hub also works locally for most operations. SmartThings depends on cloud for many functions. Google Home depends on cloud heavily. If reliability during outages matters for your situation, Home Assistant or Apple Home is the safer pick. Community support. Home Assistant has the largest and most active community in the smart home space. The forums, the subreddit, the Discord server, all extremely active with knowledgeable users. Documentation is comprehensive. Bug fixes happen weekly. SmartThings community is good but smaller. Apple Home support is mostly through Apple Support and a few enthusiast forums. Hubitat has a tight, helpful community. Update cadence. Home Assistant releases monthly with major versions every 2 to 3 months. The pace of improvement is genuinely impressive but can also break things if you're not paying attention to release notes. SmartThings and Apple Home update on slower, more conservative cycles, less risk of unexpected breakage. Trade-off between innovation speed and stability. In my own setup, I run Home Assistant on a Home Assistant Yellow with 8 GB of RAM, Zigbee built-in, Z-Wave via a USB dongle, and Matter thread via the same. Total hardware cost was $240. I migrated from SmartThings over a weekend. The upgrade unlocked automations I literally couldn't build on SmartThings. But the migration was painful. When SmartThings is the right choice. You have a Samsung TV. You're starting fresh. You want a polished experience without spending a weekend on setup. You don't have specific privacy concerns. You don't need esoteric integrations. SmartThings is the safe, easy, capable mainstream choice for 90% of households starting smart home journeys. When Apple Home is the right choice. You're an iPhone household. Privacy matters to you. You want the best polish and design. You're willing to accept fewer device options in exchange for those qualities. Apple Home in 2026 is genuinely strong, especially with Matter integration adding device variety. Worth strong consideration for iPhone users. When Hubitat is the right choice. You want local processing without learning Linux. You want strong automation logic without YAML. You want Z-Wave done right with strong device compatibility. You're willing to spend slightly more on hardware for better experience. Hubitat sits in a middle sweet spot that more users should consider. When Home Assistant is the right choice. You're technically inclined or willing to learn. You want the most capable platform. You have specific integrations that aren't available elsewhere. You care about privacy or local processing. You enjoy tinkering or have unique automation needs. Home Assistant rewards investment with capability that other platforms simply cannot match. Cost over 5 years. SmartThings, $200 for the hub plus 0 ongoing, $200 total. Apple Home, the cost of an Apple TV or HomePod you'd own anyway, effectively 0. Hubitat, $150 for the hub plus 0 ongoing, $150 total. Home Assistant, $100 to $250 for hardware plus 0 ongoing. All 4 platforms have similar long-term cost, the differentiator is your time investment. Migration paths. Coming from SmartThings to Home Assistant is the most common migration. The Home Assistant SmartThings integration can pull devices from your Samsung account. Coming from Apple Home, you can run both simultaneously by using Matter to bridge devices. Coming from Hubitat, the Device Exporter Community plugin makes the move smooth. Failure modes. SmartThings depends on Samsung's cloud. If the cloud goes down, your automations stop. has happened multiple times in the past 5 years. Apple Home depends on your hub being online. If your HomePod or Apple TV crashes, your automations stop. Home Assistant depends on the server you own being up. SD card failures on Raspberry Pi are the most common cause, hence the recommendation for the yellow with built-in storage. What I recommend for a first smart home in 2026. Start with Apple Home if you have iPhones. Start with SmartThings if you have mixed phones or Samsung devices. Skip Google Home unless you have heavy investment in Google ecosystem already. Migrate to Home Assistant later if you outgrow the simpler platform. The migration is doable and the experience helps you build a smarter Home Assistant setup. What I would not do. Try to start with Home Assistant if you have zero Linux background and limited time. The learning curve will frustrate you and you'll abandon the project. Better to start simple, learn the smart home space, then migrate to Home Assistant when you have specific needs the simpler platform can't meet. Frustration is the smart home killer. Long-term thinking. Smart home platforms will continue to evolve. Matter is rising, Apple Home is improving, Home Assistant adds features monthly. The platform you pick today is not your final platform forever. Don't agonize over the decision. Pick the one that fits your current technical level and time availability. Migration is always possible later. Subscribe to Espacio Intelligent and hit the bell. Next week's setup goes deeper into smart locks and the security risks they don't print on the box. Drop a comment with which platform you currently use, and I will help you with specific tips for getting the most out of it before considering a migration.